Welcome to Inside Vietnam. I'm your host, and today's story hits different than most. This one's about a man who did everything right his whole life, showed up, worked hard, kept his head down, only to discover that the world doesn't always reward loyalty with security. Meet Declan O'Sullivan, 61 years old, from Cork, Ireland. Spent over 3 decades fitting door panels on a Ford assembly line. When the factory closed and his pension kicked in at $1,500 a month, he faced a choice that millions of retirees are facing right now: survive on nothing in the place you've always called home, or take what little you have and try to make it stretch somewhere else. Declan chose Vietnam, and for a while it felt like salvation. What happened next changed everything. This one's going to stick with you. Here's his story, in his own words. I started at the Ford plant in Cork when I was 24. That was 1987. Thatcher was wrecking Britain. Ireland was bleeding young people to emigration, and I had a baby on the way. The job wasn't glamorous door panel assembly, same station, same movements, 40 hours a week, but it was steady. In those days, steady meant everything. 34 years. Same line. Same job. I could fit those panels in my sleep, and some nights on third shift, I nearly did. The work shaped my hands, bent my back, put 3 kids through school. Oife, Connor, Siobhan, good kids. They're scattered now: Dublin, London, teacher training down in Limerick. We talk at Christmas, sometimes birthdays. The closure announcement came in 2016. I was 58. Management called us into the canteen on a Tuesday morning, never a good sign when they pull you off the line, and told us the plant was relocating to Poland. Cheaper labor, better tax incentives, market forces, all that. They were very sorry. We'd get redundancy packages. There'd be retraining programs for those who wanted them. I remember looking around that canteen at fellas I'd worked beside for decades. Paddy O'Brien had been there longer than me. Seamus McCarthy's da I'd worked the same line before him. We weren't just losing jobs. We were losing the only thing most of us knew how to do. The redundancy package was supposed to be generous. On paper, maybe it was. In practice, it lasted 11 months. I applied for everything: warehouse work, delivery driving, security. Either I was overqualified or I wasn't the right cultural fit, which is what they say when you're too old, but they can't legally say you're too old. I signed on, did the interviews, watched my savings evaporate, paying rent on a bedsit I could barely heat. 3 years of that. 3 years of being invisible. Of walking past the closed plant and feeling like a ghost. My kids were sympathetic at first, then busy with their own lives. Can't blame them. What were they supposed to do? Ring their unemployed da every week to hear him say everything was grand when it clearly wasn't. The state pension kicked in when I turned 61. €1,380 a month. I did the math on the back of an ESB bill. Rent was $700. Utilities, another $150 in winter. Less in summer. Food, if I was careful, $300. That left €230 for everything else: clothes, phone, the occasional pint, anything that might make life feel like living instead of just not dying. I'd sit in that bedsit some evenings, cold even with the heat on, eating a tin of beans over toast, and think, this is it? This is what loyalty gets you. Then Paddy. Same. Paddy from the plant started posting photos on Facebook from Thailand. He'd moved to Pattaya 2 years prior on his pension. The photos showed him at beach bars, plates of food that cost less than a meal deal at Tesco, smiling in the sun. He looked 10 years younger. I started researching. Late nights, couldn't sleep anyway. Southeast Asia, cost of living. Expat forums. Thailand came up a lot, but there was something about it that felt off all those stories about bar girls and sex tourists. I'm not a prude, but that wasn't what I was after. I just wanted somewhere I could breathe. Somewhere my pension might actually be enough. Vietnam kept appearing in the forums. Cheaper than Thailand, people said. Less touristy, better food, friendlier locals once you got outside the backpacker zones. I watched YouTube videos expats showing their apartments, their monthly budgets. Fellas living comfortably on $1,000 a month. 1,000. I was getting 1,500. The math was simple. In Cork, I was slowly drowning. In Vietnam, I might actually live. I sold what little furniture I had. Most of it worthless, but every bit helped. Gave notice on the bedsit. My landlord seemed relieved. Told the kids I was going traveling for a bit, trying something new. They thought I was having a midlife crisis. Maybe I was. Awife said, "Fair play to you, da," but I could hear the concern in her voice. Connor asked if I was sure. Siobhan just said to send photos. I booked a one-way ticket to Da Nang. The flight and visa ate into my savings, but I still had 4,200 euro in my account when I landed. Everything I owned fit in a rucksack and a checked bag. 61 years old, and everything I had left in the world could be lifted with two hands. The plane touched down on a January evening. Hot, even at night, the air thick and wet. I'd never been anywhere like it. The noise hit me first. Motorbikes everywhere, hundreds of them, weaving through traffic like water. Then the smells, fish sauce, exhaust, something sweet I couldn't identify. I got in a taxi, showed the driver the address of a guest house I'd booked online, and watched the city blur past the window. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a plan beyond stretching my pension as far as it would go. But sitting in that taxi, sweating through my shirt, watching a country I knew nothing about rush past in the dark, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Dangerous thing, hope. Makes you blind to what's right in front of you. Makes you believe that starting over is possible. That geography can solve what's broken inside you. Makes you think that because you're a good man who worked hard his whole life, the universe owes you something better than a cold bedsit and beans on toast. I know better now. But that night, arriving in Da Nang with everything I owned and nothing left to lose, I let myself believe. That was my first mistake. The guest house was basic, but clean. $20 a night, which worked out to about 18 euro. The owner spoke enough English to show me the room and explain the Wi-Fi password. I dropped my bags, lay on the bed fully clothed, and stared at the ceiling fan spinning slowly overhead. The jet lag hit like a hammer. I slept 14 hours straight. When I woke, it was morning. Proper morning sun already high, the heat building. I walked out into Da Nang with no plan except to see what my pension could actually buy here. First stop was a little stall near the guest house selling banh mi. I'd watched videos about Vietnamese sandwiches, but nothing prepared me for the real thing. The woman running the stall was maybe 60, smaller than my daughter Aoife, hands moving so fast I could barely track them. She split a baguette, spread something on it, loaded it with meat and vegetables and herbs I couldn't name, wrapped it in paper, and handed it to me. 20,000 dong. I did the conversion on my phone. 80 cents. Less than €1 for breakfast. I sat on a plastic stool and ate it. Best sandwich I'd ever had. Not fancy, just fresh. Real. I watched the motorbikes go past. Hundreds of them. Whole families balanced on single bikes. Father driving, mother's side saddle on the back, holding a baby. Older kids standing on the footrest. Nobody wearing helmets. Organized chaos that somehow worked. After breakfast, I walked. Had no idea where I was going. Just followed the sea breeze toward what I hoped was the beach. The streets were narrow. The buildings pressed together like bad teeth. Every corner had a cafe, tiny places with plastic stools on the pavement, old men smoking and drinking something dark from small glasses. The heat was oppressive, but it wasn't the damp cold of Cork. This heat felt alive. I found Ntuong Beach by accident, turned a corner, and there it was. White sand, blue water, palm trees. A few tourists scattered about, mostly young backpackers. I sat in the shade and watched the waves. Thought about Cork, about the bedsit, about how many years it had been since I'd seen the ocean. Over the next week, I found my feet. Rented a proper apartment studio flat, 5th floor walk-up, furnished. $250 a month, which worked out to about 230 euro. The landlord was Vietnamese, spoke broken English, showed me how the AC worked and where to pay the electric. I handed over cash for the first month and deposit. Still had nearly 4,000 euro left. The math started making sense in a way it never had in Cork. Coffee at a local cafe, kapi CFA CFA, fe CFA fe. Swaha. Iced coffee with condensed milk cost 15,000 dong, about 60 cents. Back home, a coffee at a cafe would be €3 minimum. Dinner at a com tam place down the street, broken rice with grilled pork, pickled vegetables, a fried egg 70,000 dong. Less than €3 for a full meal that left me stuffed. I kept a running tally in a notebook, old habit from the factory. By the end of the first week, I'd spent maybe €150 total, including the apartment deposit. This wasn't just doable, this was sustainable. I established a routine. Mornings, I'd walk the beach. The locals were out early, old women doing tai chi, men swimming in their underwear, couples walking hand in hand. Nobody bothered me. I was invisible in the best possible way. After the beach, I'd get banh mi and coffee, find a cafe with Wi-Fi, Read news from home on my Kindle. The Irish Times, hurling scores, all that. Keeping one foot in the old life even as the new one took shape. Afternoons, I'd explore. The markets were overwhelming at first. The noise, the smells, the sheer abundance of things I didn't recognize. But I learned. Learned that you could buy fresh vegetables for almost nothing. Learned that pointing at what you wanted worked when language failed. Learned that smiling got you further than trying to haggle. Evenings, I'd cook simple meals in the studio or eat out for cheap. Then I'd sit on my balcony with a beer, Saigon or 333, cost about 50 cents each, and watch the sun set over the buildings. The heat would break slightly. Motorbikes would still buzz past below. Somewhere nearby, karaoke would start up. Vietnamese pop songs sung badly and enthusiastically. I'd been in Da Nang 3 weeks when I found the Quan. It was tucked down a side street near my apartment, easy to miss. Family-run place, maybe 6 tables, open to the street, the kind of spot where locals ate, not tourists. I walked past it a few times before finally going in. The woman running it was maybe 50, wearing a faded ao dai, hair tied back. She looked at me with mild surprise. I was clearly not local, but smiled and gestured to a table. Her daughter came over with a menu, handwritten in Vietnamese, with a few English words scattered through. The daughter was younger, late 30s maybe, wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Pretty in an understated way. No makeup that I could see. You speak English? I asked. Yes, some, she said. Her accent was thick but clear. You want food? I pointed at something on the menu that I thought might be noodle soup. She nodded, said something to her mother in Vietnamese, then brought me water and chopsticks. The soup arrived bun bo yu, I'd learn later. Spicy beef noodle soup, rich and complex. I ate it slowly, trying not to embarrass myself with the chopsticks. The daughter watched from behind the counter, amused. When I went to pay 90,000 dong, about €350, she rang it up on an old calculator and smiled. You like? She asked. Very much, I said. Best thing I've eaten since I got here. You tourist? I live here now. Just moved. From Ireland. Her eyes widened slightly. Ireland. Very far. Very far, I agreed. I went back the next day, and the day after that. By the end of the week, I was a regular. The daughter, her name was Lynn, would see me coming and start making my usual without asking. We'd chat a bit while I ate. Small talk mostly. Where was I from? What brought me to Vietnam? Did I like Da Nang? She told me she worked in Saigon for years, at a hotel, but came back to help her mother after her father died. She spoke English well, better than most people I'd met. Said she missed Saigon sometimes, but family was family. I noticed things about her. The way she'd bring me extra spring rolls sometimes, never charged for them. How she'd laugh at my Cork accent when I tried to pronounce Vietnamese words. The fact that she wore simple clothes, no jewelry, no heavy makeup like the women I'd seen working in tourist bars. She seemed normal. Grounded. Tired in a way I recognized the tiredness of someone who worked hard and didn't complain about it. After maybe 2 weeks of eating there almost daily, she asked if I had children. 3, I said. All grown. Scattered across Ireland and England. You miss them? Sometimes. But they have their own lives now. Can't expect them to worry about their old da. She nodded like she understood something. I have daughter, 15, very smart, study hard. That's good, I said. You should be proud. Her father gone long time, no help, no money, just me and my mother. There was no self-pity in how she said it, just fact. I found myself respecting that. 3 weeks into eating at her Quan, Lynn asked if I'd like to see the Marble Mountains on her day off. She had a motorbike, could drive us there, show me around. Only if I wanted. I said yes before I'd really thought about it. Looking back now, that was the moment everything changed. Not the first payment or the first lie. This moment. Saying yes to a motorbike ride with a woman who made me feel less alone than I'd felt in years. But sitting in that Quan, watching her smile when I agreed, I didn't see danger. I saw a possibility. I saw someone who might understand what it felt like to work hard and have little to show for it. Someone who didn't look at me and see a pension check or a retirement fund. She saw me. Or so I thought. We arranged to meet on Sunday morning. I went back to my apartment feeling something I hadn't felt in so long I'd almost forgotten what to call it. Not just hope this time. Connection. The Marble Mountains trip changed everything, though I didn't see it at the time. Lynn picked me up outside my apartment on her Honda Wave, a little red scooter that looked like it had seen better days. She wore jeans and a long-sleeved shirt despite the heat, a cloth mask hanging around her neck. I climbed on the back, awkward at first, hadn't been on a motorbike since I was a lad, and she laughed. "Hold here," she said, tapping the metal rack behind me. "Or hold me, you choose." I held the rack. She pulled out into traffic without hesitation, weaving between cars and other bikes like it was nothing. The wind felt good. The city blurred past. For 20 minutes, I forgot to worry about money or what I was doing with my life. The marble mountains were impressive in a way I wasn't expecting. Caves and temples carved into limestone, stairs that went on forever. Lynn knew all the spots where to get the best view, which Buddha statue was lucky, the cave where the Viet Cong had hidden during the war. She was patient when I needed to stop and catch my breath on the stairs. 61-year-old factory workers don't climb mountains quickly. We had lunch at a small place near the base. She ordered for both of us, wouldn't let me pay. When I insisted, she got genuinely upset. "You are a guest," she said. "In Vietnam, we take care of guests." After that day, we started seeing each other properly, not dating exactly. I was too old for that word, but spending time together. She'd come to my studio after work, cook dinner while I sat at the little table and watched. Simple things: rice, vegetables, grilled fish she'd bought at the market. She moved around my kitchen like she'd been doing it for years. "You cook like this in Ireland?" she asked one evening, watching me try to chop lemongrass. "I cooked beans on toast," I said. "Sometimes eggs if I was feeling ambitious." She laughed. It was a good laugh, genuine. Irish man need Vietnamese wife. You die from bad food. The word wife hung in the air for a moment. Neither of us acknowledged it. She started staying over a few nights a week. Nothing dramatic, just practical. It was late, she was tired, my place was closer than hers. She'd fold my clothes without asking, tidy up the small mess I'd made. In the morning, she'd be up before me, making coffee the Vietnamese way, strong and sweet, and we'd sit on the balcony watching the city wake up. It felt domestic in a way my life hadn't felt in years. After my wife died 10 years back now, I'd forgotten what it was like to share space with someone. To have another person's routines weave into yours. Lynn told me more about her daughter, Mai. 15 years old, top of her class, wanted to study pharmacy at university. The father had left when Mai was 2, went north for work, and never came back. No child support, no contact. Lynn had raised her alone with help from her mother. "Very hard," she said, not looking for sympathy, just stating fact. "Work 2 jobs sometimes, hotel and day, translate at night. But Mai's good girl. She study hard, no trouble." I met Mai about a month in. Lynn brought her to the studio one Sunday afternoon. The girl was shy, skinny, wore glasses too big for her face. She sat at my table doing homework while Lynn cooked, barely looking up. Her English was better than her mother's. She'd been studying it in school. "What do you want to be when you finish university?" I asked her. "Pharmacist," she said, still not looking up from her textbook. "Help people. Make good money." Practical kid. I liked that. The thing is, this felt different from the stories I'd read in the expat forums. Those stories were always about bar girls and scams, women half your age asking for money from day one. Lynn wasn't like that. She split the bill when we ate out, tried to pay for petrol when I rented a motorbike for the day, got embarrassed when I bought her small things, a new phone case, a scarf from the market. "You don't need to do this," she'd say. "I'm okay." One night, lying in my bed with the fan spinning overhead, she told me I was different too. Most foreign man, they want young girl, like children. 20, 22. They think Vietnamese women are, she searched for the word, easy. You are different. You kind. I wanted to believe that. Wanted to believe I was different, that what we had was real. Month 3, she mentioned her mother's surgery. We were having dinner at the Quan. Her mother wasn't there visiting family in the countryside, Lynn said. She seemed distracted, picking at her food. "What's wrong?" I asked. She shook her head. "Nothing, just worry." I pressed gently. Eventually, it came out. Her mother needed surgery. Nothing life-threatening but necessary. Gallbladder. The public hospital had a 6-month wait. Private hospital could do it next week, but it cost money. 20 million dong. She'd been saving, but only had half. I did the math in my head. 20 million dong. About 800 euro. "How much do you need?" I asked. No. She waved her hands. "I don't ask you for money. I worry. I tell you because I worry." "How much?" "Maybe 10 million. But I will find it. I asked my brother, maybe he help." I thought about my savings. Still had about 3,800 euro in my account. My pension covered my rent and living expenses. This 800, it would hurt, but it wouldn't break me. I'll give it to you, I said. Her eyes went wide. No, Deck, is too much. Your mother needs surgery. You have it next week instead of waiting 6 months. That's worth €800. I pay you back, I promise. Every month, I pay small amount. Grand, I said, knowing I'd never take it. Don't worry about it. She cried. Actually cried, right there at the table. Reached across and grabbed my hand. You're a good man, she said. Very good man. I transferred the money the next day. Felt good doing it, if I'm honest. Felt like I was helping, like I was needed. What else was I going to do with the money? Sit in my studio alone, watching my savings grow old with me. Her mother had the surgery that week. Lynn sent me photos from the hospital, her mom in a bed, looking small and tired but smiling. She thanked me 100 times. I pay you back, she said. I promise. Whenever you can, I said. No rush. A month later, it was school fees. Mai had a chance to attend a better school, one that specialized in sciences, would help her get into university, give her a real shot. But it was expensive. 15 million dong for the term. About €600. Lynn was apologetic, embarrassed, said she understood if I couldn't help, that she'd find another way. But how could I say no? This was for Mai's education, her future. That seemed worth it. I paid it. Then her motorbike broke down. Needed repairs, about €350. She needed it to get to work, to take Mai to school. I paid that too. Each time, she cried. Each time, she promised to pay me back. Each time, I told her not to worry. Looking back now, I can see the pattern clear as day. But in the moment, I wasn't thinking about patterns. I was thinking about how good it felt to be needed, how long it had been since anyone had depended on me for anything. My kids were grown, scattered, busy with their own lives. The factory didn't need me anymore. Ireland didn't need me, but Lynn needed me. Mai needed me. That felt like purpose. And the math still worked, I told myself. I'd spent maybe €1,800 helping them. Still had over 2,000 left. My pension covered everything else. It was fine. It was all fine. By month 4, Lynn was staying at my studio most nights. She kept a few changes of clothes in my wardrobe, toiletries in the bathroom, her toothbrush next to mine, small things that made the place feel less like a bachelor flat and more like a home. She'd started calling me my Deck in her accent, which came out sounding like my deck. Made me smile every time. In the mornings before she left for the Quan, she'd make me breakfast, usually something simple like rice porridge or fried eggs with toast, and we'd eat together on the balcony. The rhythm of it felt right. I told my kids about her during a video call with Aoife. Kept it casual, didn't want to make a big thing of it. I've been seeing someone, I said, a local woman. She's nice. Aoife was folding laundry in the background, barely looking at the screen. That's great, Da. That's really nice. Her name's Lynn. She's got a daughter, 15. Smart kid. That's lovely. She was distracted, dealing with her own life. I couldn't blame her. Connor's response was even briefer when I mentioned it on WhatsApp. Fair play. Enjoy yourself. They weren't being cold, just busy. Their lives were in Ireland and England, full of work and relationships and concerns that had nothing to do with their retired Da living in Vietnam. That was fine. That was how it should be. Late April, Lynn came to the studio, looking stressed. Sat at the table picking at her nails, not meeting my eyes. What's wrong? I asked. My brother, she said. He getting married. That's good news, isn't it? Yes, but, she trailed off. In Vietnam, family must help. Everyone give money for wedding. Is tradition. I waited. He asked me for contribution, 17 million dong. She looked up finally. I don't have it, Deck. I try to save, but I just pay back some money to you, and my need new uniform. And 17 million dong. I did the conversion, about €700. How much can you give him? I asked. Maybe 5 million, but is not enough. He will lose face if his sister cannot help properly. Family will talk. I'd read about this, the concept of face in Vietnamese culture. Public respect, reputation, how you were seen by others. It mattered here in ways I was still learning to understand. I'll help, I said. Her eyes widened. No, Deck. I cannot ask this. You didn't ask. I'm offering. Family's important. If this is what families do here, then we'll do it. But it's so much money. It's €700. I have it. Barely, but I had it. My savings were down to about 2,000 now. but my pension covered my monthly expenses. This would be fine. She cried again, hugged me tight. I pay you back, I promise. When I have money, I pay everything back. I know you will, I said, meaning it. The wedding was in early May, family only, Lynn explained. Her brother's wife's family were traditional, wouldn't understand a foreigner being there. I understood. Gave her the money in cash, watched her count it carefully before putting it in her bag. Thank you, she said. You are more family to me than many of my blood family. That hit me harder than it should have, the idea that I could be family to someone again, that I could matter in that way. 2 weeks after the wedding, Lynn mentioned her mother's house needed urgent repairs. The roof was leaking, rainy season was starting, and there were electrical problems that were dangerous. 30 million dong. About 1,200 euro. I did the math in my head. I had maybe 1,000 euro left in savings. The rest of the money she needed, I'd have to pull from next month's pension. The electrician, he say, is very dangerous, Lynn said. Fire risk. But I understand if you cannot help, is too much. I asked my cousin, maybe he knows someone cheaper. I thought about her mother. Small woman, always smiling when I saw her at the Kwan. She'd had surgery I'd paid for. Now her house was falling apart around her. I'll cover it, I said. Deck, no. Is too much. Your mother could have a fire. That's not acceptable. We'll fix it properly. I transferred the money that afternoon. Watched my savings account drop to 200 euro. Everything I had left in the world after rent and the transfer. But Lynn had suggested we move in together soon after Mai finished the school year in June, just 2 months away. That would save me rent. Save her the cost of wherever she was living. We'd pool resources. It made sense financially. It made sense emotionally. I was building something here. Investing in a future that might actually include another person. That was worth more than money sitting in a bank account. The requests came more frequently after that. Smaller amounts, but constant. Mai needed textbooks for her new school, 3 million dong. About 150 euro. Lynn's phone broke, needed replacing 5 million dong, 200 euro. Her sister's husband was in hospital, couldn't work. They needed help with bills, 20 million dong, 800 euro. Each time Lynn was distraught. Each time she apologized. Each time I reassured her. This is what you do when you care about someone, I'd say. You help. And I meant it. Back in Cork, I'd have spent that money on heating bills and loneliness. Here, it was going to actual people with actual needs. Lynn working 2 jobs to support her daughter. Her mother recovering from surgery in a house with a leaking roof. Her sister dealing with a husband too sick to work. These were real problems. I could help solve them. That felt better than anything money had done for me in years. By month 6, I'd spent my entire savings. 4,200 euro, gone. My pension hit my account on the first of each month, 1,380 euro. And by the middle of the month, I was down to 50 or 100 euro. Living on rice and vegetables from the market. Skipping my morning coffee at the cafe, not going out for meals. Lynn noticed I'd lost weight. You okay? She asked. You look tired. I'm grand, I said. Just the heat takes it out of you. When my pension came in July, I brought up moving in together again. We should do it now, I said. Save money on 2 places. Makes sense. She went quiet, looked uncomfortable. What's wrong? I asked. My mother, she said. She very traditional. She would not approve us living together if we not married. We could get married then. Deck, you don't understand. In Vietnamese culture is complicated. She would disown me. And she needs stability right now. School is difficult. She need to stay with my mother where she feels safe. What about after the school year? You said, I know what I said. Her voice had an edge I hadn't heard before. But things change. Maya is having trouble at school. She need me clothes. Maybe next year, after she settle in new school. We talk about it then, okay? I apologized. Told her I understood. Didn't want to pressure her. But something felt off. I couldn't name it. Didn't want to name it. The math had stopped working and I knew it. 1,380 euro coming in every month. 230 for rent, 300 for food if I was careful. Maybe 200 for everything else. That left 650 euro. But Lynn's needs kept coming. Not large amounts anymore, but steady. 100 here, 200 there. Her mother needed medication the insurance wouldn't cover. Mine needed supplies for school. Lynn's motorbike needed new tires. I was saying yes to everything because saying no felt like admitting this wasn't what I thought it was. Saying no meant looking at the numbers honestly and seeing that I'd spent everything and gotten what in return. A relationship with a woman who wouldn't move in with me. a future that kept getting pushed back, promises to pay me back that never materialized. But I didn't say no. I kept saying yes. By the end of September, I was running out of pension money by the 10th or 12th of each month. Living on banh mi and instant noodles until the next payment came in. I'd lost maybe 15 pounds. My clothes hung loose. When Awife video called in early October, she looked concerned. "Duh. Are you eating enough? You look very thin." "I'm grand," I said. "Eating healthier here. Lots of vegetables and fish." "You sure you're okay?" "Never better," I lied. After the call, I sat on my balcony and did the math I'd been avoiding. €4,200 in savings, gone. Another 3,000 for my pension over the past few months. €7,200 total, nearly 7,500 when you added in the bits and pieces I'd forgotten to count. I'd given Lynn more money in 6 months than I'd spent on myself in 2 years back in Cork, and we still weren't living together. I still hadn't met her family properly. The money I'd given her mother for the house, I'd never actually seen the house. But she loved me. I was sure she loved me. I had to be sure. Because if she didn't, then what the hell was I doing? October came, and Mai needed a laptop for school. 12 million dong. About €500. I didn't have it. For the first time since the money started flowing out, I had to tell Lynn I couldn't help. My pension had come in 3 days prior. After rent and the bare minimum for food, I had maybe €200 left. "Not enough. I'm sorry," I said. "I just don't have it right now." She looked at me like I'd slapped her. "But Mai need it for school, for her studies. She cannot do homework without computer." "I know, but is okay." Her voice went flat. "I understand. I asked someone else." That night, I couldn't sleep. Lay in bed staring at the ceiling fan, thinking about Mai trying to do schoolwork without a laptop. Thinking about how I'd promised to help, how I'd become someone they could depend on, and now I was letting them down. The next morning, I went to Vietcombank, asked about an overdraft facility. The woman at the desk spoke decent English. Explained I could get up to 50 million dong secured against my pension, about €2,000. Regular monthly payments into my account made me eligible. Interest rate was high but manageable. I signed the papers. Felt sick doing it, but told myself it was temporary. Just until I got back on my feet. Maybe I could pick up some English teaching, make a bit extra. Plenty of expats did it. The overdraft appeared in my account that afternoon. I transferred €500 to Lynn for the laptop. She cried for an hour when I told her. Held me so tight I could barely breathe. "You are best man I ever know," she said. "So good to me, to Mai. I don't deserve you." "Course you do," I said. She stayed over that night, made love for the first time in weeks. Afterwards, lying in the dark, she traced patterns on my chest with her finger. "Soon we live together," she whispered. "Soon everything be easier. We share everything, help each other. You will see." I wanted to believe her. 2 weeks later, her sister's husband lost his job. They needed help with rent, 15 million dong, about €600. Lynn came to me crying, apologetic. Her sister had 3 children. They'd be on the street. I sent the money. Then her mother needed medication the public health system wouldn't cover. 10 million dong, €400. Life or death, Lynn said. Her exact words, "Without this medicine, my mother die." I sent it. The overdraft crept up. €600. 1,000. 1,400. I started eating cheaper. Stopped buying meat. Instant noodles became a staple. 7,000 dong a packet. About 30 cents. I could make 1 packet last 2 meals if I added vegetables from the market. Skip breakfast, light lunch, light dinner. The weight kept falling off. November. Ioife video called again. This time she didn't just look concerned, she looked scared. "Da, what's going on? You look terrible. Are you sick?" "I'm fine, just the heat, like I said. It's November. It's not that hot anymore." She leaned closer to the screen. "Da, seriously. You look like you've lost 2 stone. Are you eating? I'm eating fine. Are you spending too much money? Do you need help?" The shame of it nearly broke me. My daughter offering me money because I looked like I was starving. "No, love, I'm grand. Just eating lighter, that's all. Healthier." She didn't believe me, but what could she do from Dublin? After the call, I looked at myself properly in the mirror for the first time in weeks. She was right. I looked terrible. Gaunt. Older than my 61 years. The tropics hadn't been kind, or maybe it was the stress, or maybe it was living on instant noodles and rice. Lynn had stopped coming around as much. Used to be most nights, then it was 3 nights a week, then 2. When I asked why, she always had reasons. Maya was having trouble at school, needed her mother close. Her mother wasn't feeling well, needed help. She was exhausted from work, needed to sleep at her own place. When I suggested again that we move in together, save money, be together more, she got upset. Why you always ask this? Her voice was sharp, frustrated. I tell you, Vietnamese culture is different. My mother would disown me if we lived together unmarried. You don't understand pressure I have from family. Then let me meet them properly. Let me talk to your mother. Explain, no. She actually raised her voice. You don't understand. They're very traditional. They would be embarrassed, would lose face having foreign man come to house, asking to live with daughter. We've been together 8 months. I know how long, she was crying now. You think I don't want live with you? You think I like this? But I have responsibilities. I have my mother, I have my family. In Vietnam, we cannot just do what we want. We have duty. I apologized, told her I understood, held her while she cried. But I didn't understand. None of it made sense anymore. The overdraft hit €1,800 in December. The bank sent a warning letter. I was approaching my limit. Monthly repayments would be required soon. I did the math again, properly this time. €1,380 pension, 230 rent. If I spent 200 on food and another 200 on everything else, phone, electric, water, that left €750. The bank wanted €100 minimum payment monthly. That left €650 for a whole month, for everything else. For Lynn's needs, which kept coming, it didn't work. The arithmetic didn't work, but I couldn't stop. Because stopping meant admitting I'd been wrong about everything. About her, about us, about what I was building here. By late December, Lynn was coming around maybe once a week. Always rushed, always apologetic. My this, mother that, work the other. When she did come, she seemed distracted. Checked her phone constantly. Made excuses to leave early. You okay? I asked one night. Yes, just tired. Very busy at work. I miss you. I miss you too. But she was already gathering her things, already halfway out the door. I sent her €300 for Christmas. Thought maybe it would help, show her I was still here, still supporting her even though I was struggling. She thanked me via text message, didn't come over. Said her family had Christmas plans. January, the bank overdraft hit €2,000. The limit, no more available. The pension came in €1,380. I paid rent, bought food for the month, paid the minimum on the overdraft. Had maybe €400 left. Lynn messaged me 2 days later. Her mother was in hospital. Different issue this time, serious. Needed treatment. 12 million dong. €500. I stared at the message for an hour. I didn't have €500. Not anymore. I typed out a reply. I'm sorry, I've hit my overdraft limit. The bank won't give me more. I don't have it. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Okay, I understand. I find another way. That was it. No? It's okay, no? Don't worry, no. We'll figure it out together. Just, I understand. She didn't message me the next day, or the day after that. 3 days of silence. Then Facebook destroyed everything. I was scrolling through Facebook on the 4th day of silence, not looking for anything in particular, just killing time in my studio, trying not to think about the fact that I had €80 left until next pension payment and hadn't heard from Lynn. The photo appeared in my feed around noon. A mutual friend from the Quan woman named Huang, who I'd added months back, barely knew had tagged Lynn in a post. Beach Resort Photos. Hey Trang. I clicked it. There she was, Lynn. Sitting at a beachfront restaurant, sunset in the background, wearing jewelry I'd never seen, gold necklace, earrings, hair done up nicely, makeup. She looked beautiful. Next to her sat a Vietnamese man, younger than me, maybe 40, his arm around her shoulders, both of them smiling at the camera. Posted 2 days ago. 2 days ago, when her mother was supposedly in hospital, when she needed €500 for treatment. I stared at that photo for an hour, maybe longer. Lost track of time. The heat in the studio was oppressive, but I didn't move. Just sat there on my bed, phone in hand, looking at that picture, at her smile, at the way she leaned into him, at the jewelry glinting in the sunset. My hands started shaking. I opened Google Maps, typed in the address Lynn had given me months ago for Mai's better school. The one I'd paid €600 in fees for. The map loaded. Zoomed in. Swan 11. The address was a 7-Eleven convenience store. No school, no science academy. Just a 7-Eleven on a street corner in a residential neighborhood. I felt sick. Went to Facebook again. Found Lynn's brother, the one who'd gotten married, the one I'd given €700 for. I'd friended him months back after Lynn had shown me his profile, scrolled through his timeline. Back. There. May 2021. 3 years ago. Wedding photos. Him in a suit, his bride in a white awa dye. Family gathered around. Comments in Vietnamese. I couldn't read, but the date was clear. 3 years ago. Not last May. Not when I'd given Lynn the money. 3 years ago. The room spun. I went through everything methodically then. Every story, every payment, every excuse. Her mother's house that needed repairs. I'd never been there. Never seen it. Lynn always said it was too far, in the countryside, difficult to get to. Her sister with the sick husband, I'd never met them. Never even seen a photo. Mai, the daughter who needed textbooks and a laptop, I'd only met her once. Once in 9 months. Shy, quiet, barely spoke. Was she even Lynn's daughter? The surgery, the school fees, the brother's wedding, the motorbike repairs, the medication, the laptop, all of it could have been lies. Probably was. I composed a message to Lynn. Attached the photo from NHA Trang. Who is he? Sent it. Blue ticks appeared immediately. She'd read it. I waited, no reply. I sent another message. The school doesn't exist. I looked it up. Your brother got married 3 years ago, not last May. How much of it was lies? Read. Blue ticks, no reply. I called her. The number you are calling is not available. Blocked. I sat there for another hour, maybe 2. The sun moved across the floor. Motorbikes buzzed past below. Somewhere nearby, someone was cooking. The smell of fish sauce and garlic drifted through the window. Normal life continuing while mine fell apart. I put on shoes, walked to the Quan. It was late afternoon. A few customers at the tables. The owner, the woman I'd thought was Lynn's mother, was behind the counter. She saw me coming, and her face changed. Not surprised exactly. More like resigned. Lynn here? I asked. She shook her head. No, Lynn, no, come today. When will she be back? The woman looked uncomfortable, wiped her hands on her apron, said something in Vietnamese to one of the customers, who got up and left quickly. You sit, she said to me, gesturing to a table. I sat. She brought me water. Sat down across from me. Her English wasn't great, but she tried. Lynn no work here, she said. What? She my friend daughter. She no work here. She come when you come. I let her help because she ask. She say you nice man, you lonely. She want to help you. The words didn't make sense. I made her repeat them. She doesn't work here? No. She work other place. Hotel, I think. She come here only when you come. Morning, lunchtime. She know when you come. You're not her mother? No, no. I am Lan, her mother friend. Lynn mother live in Saigon. My voice came out strange, distant. How long has she been doing this? Lan looked away. I don't know. She asked me if she can help serve food when foreign man come. She say is for practice English. I say okay, I don't know what she doing. You knew what she was doing. Lan met my eyes then. Many men before you. I see them. They come, they eat, they talk to Lynn. Then they go. Some come back angry. Like you. I'm sorry. I should say something, but it's not my business. Many man before you. Her exact words. Many man before you. I stood up. The chair scraped against the floor. Where does she live? I don't know. Really, she never tell me. I believed her. I walked back to my studio. The 5 flights of stairs felt like 50. Inside, I sat on the bed and tried to think. The full scope was starting to hit me. €4,200 in savings. Gone. €2,000 overdraft. Maxed. Another 1,000 or so from the pension over the months I hadn't counted carefully. €7,500. Maybe more. Nearly twice my annual pension. Given to a woman who had lied about everything. Her job, her mother, her daughter maybe. The school, the wedding, the emergencies, all of it. I'd been so careful with money my whole life. 34 years of steady work, saving where I could, never spending beyond my means. Raised 3 kids on a factory wage. Made it stretch. and in 9 months I'd given it all away to someone who saw me coming from a kilometer off. Lonely old man with a pension. Foreign. Desperate for connection. Easy mark. I called the Vietnamese police the next day, explained the situation to an officer who spoke English. He was polite but firm. You have contract? Paper that say she borrow money? No. She promised to pay back in writing? No. Just verbally. Then his gift. Not crime. I'm sorry. She lied. About everything. Her family, the emergencies. But you give money freely, yes? She not force you? No, but then is civil matter, not police matter. You can try lawyer, but he trailed off, clearly thinking it was pointless. He was right. It was pointless. I checked my bank account that evening. €83 rent due in 5 days. I didn't have it. I called Connor. Da, good to hear from you. How's Vietnam? I swallowed, tried to keep my voice steady. It's grand. Listen, something's come up. I need to come home. Everything okay? Yeah. Just, it's not working out. Different culture, hard to adapt. Think I'll be happier back in Cork. Fair enough. When are you thinking? Soon as I can book a flight. Need help with the ticket? The shame was crushing. If you could lend me a bit, just until I get settled back, I'll pay you back. Course da, no bother. How much do you need? €500 should cover it. He didn't hesitate. I'll send it today. You sure you're all right? I'm fine, son. Just ready to come home. The money arrived that evening. I booked a flight for 3 days later, cheapest one I could find. One way to Dublin via Doha. I spent those 3 days in the studio. Didn't go out except to buy instant noodles. Didn't answer the door when the landlord knocked asking about rent. On the last day, I packed my rucksack and checked bag. Everything I owned still fit in 2 bags. Less now than when I'd arrived. I'd lost weight, didn't need as many clothes. The grab to the airport cost 200,000 dong, about €8. Left me with maybe €20 to my name. I looked out the window as we drove through Da Nang, the beach where I'd walked every morning, the markets I'd explored, the streets where I'd felt, for a brief moment, like life might have something left to offer. All of it felt poisoned now. At the airport, waiting for my flight, I deleted Lynn from Facebook, blocked her number though she'd already blocked mine, got rid of every photo, every message, every trace of the past 9 months, like it never happened. Except my bank account knew it happened. The overdraft letters knew. My gaunt face in the bathroom mirror knew. The flight was long, 23 hours with a layover. I slept most of it, or tried to, kept waking up thinking about the money, about how easily I'd given it away, about how badly I'd wanted to believe someone needed me. Connor picked me up at Dublin Airport, hugged me, pulled back, and looked concerned. Jesus, da, you've lost a stone at least. Were you eating over there? The food disagreed with me, I lied. He drove me back to Cork, helped me find a bedsit. Cheaper than the one I'd had before, €550 a month. Rougher too. Damp walls, dodgy heating, but it was all I could afford. With the overdraft requiring €100 minimum payment each month, I'd be living on €730 monthly. Rent, utilities, food, nothing left over. Less than I'd had before Vietnam. Less than what drove me to leave in the first place. I didn't tell Connor. Didn't tell Ao Wei-Fei or Siobhan. Told them all the same story. Vietnam wasn't for me. Different culture. Wanted to be closer to family. They seemed relieved, actually. Glad to have me back. Ao Wei-Fei asked once about the woman I'd been seeing. Didn't work out, I said. Cultural differences. She didn't push. I thought about telling them the truth. Thought about admitting I'd been conned, that their da had been stupid enough to fall for the oldest trick in the book. But one couldn't. The shame was too much. Steady, reliable Declan. Factory man. Never made a foolish decision in his life. Except this one. This one cost me everything. I tried getting a job. Thought maybe I could work off some of the debt, get ahead of it. Tesco was hiring for early morning stock work 4 a.m. shifts, stacking shelves before the store opened. 30 hours a week, €10 an hour, €300 a week before tax. I lasted 3 weeks. 61-year-old body, 34 years of repetitive factory work, bent back, bad knees. Lifting boxes, bending, reaching, 4 hours straight with a 15-minute break. By the 3rd week, my back went out completely. Couldn't get out of bed one morning. Doctor said rest, take painkillers, don't do heavy lifting. So that was done. The overdraft letters kept coming. Payment due. Late payment fee added. Interest accruing. The €100 monthly minimum became 110, then 120. I'm still paying it off now, 9 months after I came home. Still owe about €1,000. Should be clear in another year, if I can keep making the payments. I live on €730 a month after the overdraft payment. The bedsit is $550. That leaves $180 for everything else. Utilities, food, phone, less than I had before Vietnam. Less than the $230 that drove me to leave in the first place. I don't go out. Don't see anyone. The kids ring sometimes. I tell them I'm grand. Sometimes I go on the Vietnam expat forums. See the same questions coming up again and again. Met a woman. She needs help with her mother's surgery. Seems genuine. What do you think? Or, my girlfriend's family needs money for an emergency. Is this normal in Vietnamese culture? I want to reply. Want to tell them? Don't. Just don't. It's a script. The reading from a script. The surgery, the school fees, the family emergency. It's all the same playbook. You're not special. She doesn't love you. You're a number in her phone, a pension deposit, a mark. But I don't reply. Because I know what I would have done if someone had told me that. I'd have thought, that won't happen to me. My situation is different. She's different. I can tell. That's what they all think. That's what I thought. The lesson isn't complicated. Loneliness makes you stupid. Poverty makes you vulnerable. When you've got nothing left to lose, you'll convince yourself that someone else's need is your purpose. I thought I was building something. A relationship, a future, a reason to get up in the morning. I thought someone needed me in a way my kids didn't anymore. In a way Ireland didn't. In a way the factory never would again. But I was just filling a hole. And money was always meant to fall through it. Looking back now, I can see every red flag, never meeting the family. Never seeing the house or the school or any of it. The promises to move in together that kept getting pushed back. The way she'd disappear for longer and longer stretches. The requests that came faster as my money ran out. But in the moment, I couldn't see it. Didn't want to see it. Because seeing it meant admitting I was alone. That the connection I felt was one-sided. That I'd spent my life savings on a fantasy. And that's the real cost, isn't it? Not the €7,500. That's gone, never coming back, and I've made my peace with it. The real cost is knowing how easily I was played, how desperate I was for someone to need me, how little it took to make me ignore every warning sign. Steady, reliable Declan. 34 years on the line, raised 3 kids, never made a rash decision. Until I did. And now I'm back in Cork, in a worse bedsit than before, living on less than I had when I left, paying off debt I took on for someone who never existed. Not the woman. She existed. But the version of her I believed in, the struggling single mother, the devoted daughter, the woman who saw me as more than a pension. That person never existed. I made her up, filled in the gaps with what I wanted to see. And she let me. That's the part that keeps me up at night. Not that she lied, that I wanted so badly to believe that I did half the work for her. So that's my story. That's what happens when a 61-year-old factory worker with a pension tries to find dignity in a country he doesn't understand, with a language he doesn't speak, desperate enough to believe that geography can fix what's broken inside. It can't. And now I'm telling you so. Maybe you won't make the same mistake, but you probably will anyway. Because that's what loneliness does. It makes you think you're different, that your story will end differently, that the person you met is different from all the others. And by the time you realize you're not, they are. And it isn't. It's too late. The money's gone. And you're back where you started. Only now you're poorer, older, and you know exactly how stupid you can be. That's the real price. And I'll be paying it for the rest of my life. Declan's story isn't unique, and that's what makes it so devastating. He's one of thousands of Western men pension age, working class, isolated, who see Southeast Asia as an escape from economic precarity and loneliness, only to find themselves vulnerable to practice schemes that prey on exactly those vulnerabilities. Lynn, if that was even her real name, was almost certainly working a system. The cafe that wasn't really her workplace. The coordinated timing of emergencies. The escalating requests perfectly calibrated to drain Declan's resources without triggering immediate alarm. The phrase the cafe owner used, "many man before you," tells you everything you need to know. This isn't about vilifying Vietnamese women or discouraging genuine cross-cultural relationships. Those exist and thrive. But Declan's story illustrates a painful truth. Poverty and loneliness create a perfect storm of vulnerability. When you're invisible in your own country, when your pension barely covers survival, when your kids have moved on with their lives, the fantasy of being needed, of mattering to someone, of building something new, becomes intoxicating enough to override every rational warning sign. The math never worked, not from the beginning. But Declan wanted so badly for it to work that he rewrote the equations until they fit the answer he needed. Authentic connections abroad do happen, but they don't require constant financial rescue. They don't evaporate the moment the money runs out. They don't come with family members you never meet, emergencies you can't verify, and promises that always get delayed. If you're considering a similar move, whether to Vietnam, Thailand, the Philippines, or anywhere else, ask yourself, am I running towards something or away from something? Because if it's the latter, the problems you're running from will follow you. They'll just be wearing different clothes and speaking a different language, and they'll be a lot more expensive. Thanks for watching Inside Vietnam. If you found value in Declan's story, please subscribe. And if you're considering a similar move, do the math, protect yourself, and remember, nobody needs your pension more than you do. See you in the next one.